Hello, this is Brain Snob episode 5. I'm on my phone because I'm home, not in my makeshift studio in my office. I have 8 minutes to make this video. For some reason, it's very limited when you're on a cell phone. I wanted to talk about brain impairment and people not realizing they're brain impaired, because when they don't realize it, it's very difficult to get people to do anything about it. Brain impairment, from my point of view, which nobody will pay attention to because it's not a crisis, life-saving moment where someone's getting a new heart transplant or liver transplant, but brain impairment has an impact on how you are dealing with your everyday life, how you feel about your life, and how you're looking forward to your future or not looking forward to your future. Brain impairment may be subtle, and I want to focus on the subtle things that take you by surprise if you don't do anything about it. And then it's a disappointment because then you have a health crisis. I am looking at the basic complaints that people struggle with. One is joint pain. Another one is brain fog. Another one is fatigue, extreme tiredness. Another one is digestive trouble. Also, anxiety. And I'm going to throw in high blood pressure. Because high blood pressure, people think they'll just take a pill and they've manipulated their body so their blood pressure is lowered and they don't have that tightening of their arteries or whatever they think is going on. And the manipulation through a drug doesn't change the underlying cause. The underlying cause of all of these are stress, a stressful lifestyle that puts the body in a fight or flight, and that puts an increased sympathetic tone on the body that puts the brain in a burdened state. There's also insulin resistance, where the body is having trouble managing glucose. And along with that is inflammation. And the inflammation from diet causes an immune response in the entire body. The inflammation also comes from injuries, and the inflammation response comes from the overloaded brain with stress. This happens to everybody every day. It sneaks up on people, and they try to focus on the extraneous things, or I should say maybe the extremity things, because it's back pain, it's foot pain, it's knee pain, it's tiredness, it's anxiety. But we need to trace it back to the brain, because at the brain level is where we can really help everything. Because if you're addressing your brain, the brain makes the body. So the body responds to what the brain is telling it to do. Let's nurture the brain. At Brain First Always, BFA, I focus on the 3 concentrations. I call them doorways. You have to walk through the 3 doorways. I try to keep it simple. There are some steps within each doorway, and I think you can manage it. We look at how we move the brain, how we feed the brain, and how we talk to the brain. Moving the brain, people get it. Get adjusted, keep the brain waves calm, keep the spine moving, because movement of the spine gives the brain energy. If you're restricted in your spine or your posture is encumbered in any way, you're losing brain energy. You're fatigued, and it's difficult to think. If you exercise, you're also helping your brain. If you sleep properly, get adequate sleep, you're also helping with the proper movement of your brain and body. Feeding the brain. You have to pick your fuel, and I hope you're picking the clean fuel and not the dirty fuel. And I'll talk about that more in different videos. I'm a fan of the keto diet. I'll explain why in future videos. It's the human diet. Everything else is just an attempt, but not quite there. And if you are low carb, or you're doing a lot of plant-based, or just keeping your diet as natural as possible, you're going to plateau and you need to get a bit farther. And that's where keto comes in. Intermittent fasting also is important. Adding extra nutrients because the food supply is depleted, whether you're eating organic or not. The soil's depleted, and the things that happen to our food on the way to market and the processing changes the nutritional value of our food. We have to supplement. And I have my favorites that are bioavailable and work very well. And then bone broth. Everybody should have bone broth. It's going to fill the gaps as well. And it's tasty. It's easy. It's easy to get. If you don't want to make it, you can buy it. Very simple. To talk to your brain, you have to decide how you want to deal with stress. And some people get to the point where their sympathetic nervous system has really overtaken and the limbic system is dominant. So I'm throwing out these fancy words here. I'm kind of a nerd and I get excited by all this neurological stuff. But if your limbic system is dominant, you are sensitive to everything, you're avoiding a lot of things, and socially, as well as the foods you eat, you're avoiding environments for different reasons, and there's a lot of anxiety because the brain is too hyped up in a fight or flight state, and the executive functioning of the prefrontal cortex is dampened, and we need to get the balance back. The prefrontal cortex needs to get kicked back into gear, and the limbic system has to be toned down, and we do that with nutrition, and we do that with STAR sessions in the office. I'll talk more about that in future videos because I'm running out of time. But the brain impairment needs to be taken seriously. And if you're doing pretty well and those list of symptoms you've got a handle on, I want you to dive into the 3 doorways. Move your brain, feed your brain, and talk to your brain. Do it anyway so you can feel a difference and be a good example to the people around you. Be a brain snob and be the ripple effect in your community. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching.